Welcome to COIQ, where you learn how health innovators maximize their success. I'm your host, Dr. Roxy, founder of Legacy DNA and international best-selling author of How Health Innovators Maximize Market Success. Through candid conversations with health innovators, early adopters, and influencers, you'll learn how to bring your innovation from idea to startup to market domination. And now, let's jump into the latest episode of COIQ. Welcome back, COIQ listeners. On today's episode, we have Bryan Graven, who is the CEO for Highlight Health. Welcome to the show, Bryan.
Hey, Roxy. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So maybe just to get started, tell our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with you or what you do, just a little bit about your background and what Highlight Health is all about.
Sure. So I've been in the healthcare IT vertical for over 20 years now. And prior to Highlight Health, I was CEO of a company called National Physician Services. And that company predominantly provided IT solutions to independent physician practices. We would work with hospitals as well and support the ambulatory side of their business units. So I did that for about 10 years. And about a year and a half ago, I broke off and started my own company called Highlight Health and developed a platform called Highlight MD. So I didn't want to be a one-trick pony. So, there were some core competencies that, I was, very familiar with, such as IT and revenue cycle. And we still offer those through partner channels, but my primary focus has been developing and starting up a digital health platform, which is, Highlight MD.
Okay, excellent. So, and I think like you talked about, the conversation that we have today is very different than what we would have had a month ago when we first got acquainted with each other, right? Everything's like all things COVID now. So I think that, it'd be good just to kind of jump right into that part of the conversation. What's changed for your business, right? Like planes are grounded, a lot of practice doors are closed in many ways, just a lot of things have changed. So what's changed for you and your business?
So right now, we are looking at this as a potential opportunity. And, being a digital health platform, our specialty is, patient communication. And being the best at, providing, digital communication and outreach to patients. So, what we've done is we've worked with our clients, to strategically, go over the content and the information that they're sending out to their patients to communicate, specific information about COVID-19. So patients are now, receiving communication that if they're showing any symptoms, if they have been in contact with anyone who is, either out of the country in an area that could be an issue, or been in contact with somebody who has potentially, symptoms of COVID-19, to either reschedule their appointment or give us a call, and we'll try to figure out some options. So, really cool that, we were able to, do our part, in this pandemic and help our clients, through some of the challenges that they were having, with patient communication. In addition to that, we also have digital surveys. So, we have the survey information that is sent to the patient that actually goes through an itemized questionnaire asking if they have any specific symptoms. The practice would get that information back and be able to determine whether or not you need to speak to somebody on the phone before you come in for that visit. So really looking to protect the patients and also protect the providers that are seeing the patients.
Yeah, sure. So I can only imagine for the customers that you currently have their usage rates gone up? Or like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we have this communication channel. Let's use it.
It's been insane. It's been insane. So one of the value add with our platform is the fact that we use video.
Yep.
And I had our video production team come in on a Sunday,
Yep.
to create, branded video media, regarding COVID-19, so that, we could be ready to send out patient communication, that night,
Yeah.
before patients were coming in for that Monday.
Sure.
So it was literally a crisis on our side to figure out what we needed to do to support our clients. But when you have a crisis, good companies step up, good people step up,
Yeah.
and we made it happen, which was great.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. And, so one of the things that I, talk to clients about, and it sounds like, this is already part of your value proposition every day, and I think it's been a really big gap in healthcare, when companies are wanting to communicate really with any stakeholder group, whether it's a patient or whether it's, in a sales process. But, other industries have been using video for decades, right? and so, like normally healthcare is, have been a laggard with the adoption of digital health. And we know that video converts more than any other higher, more than any other piece of content. And so as you think about COVID, I mean, I don't know about you, but I am getting inundated with emails regarding COVID. I mean, brands and people that I never even knew had my email address, right? Like it's like 1,000 emails a day of like everybody trying to tell me what they're doing with COVID. And there's not one that's been a video.
Wow.
Everything is in text-based.
Yeah.
And so how do you rise above the noise? How do you, or break through the noise, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, that's obviously a business challenge, and, the way we've positioned our product is, we can send out emails like everyone else. We can send out text messages like everyone else. But if you want the medium that, patients and, I guess humans in general, want to view, it's video.
Yeah.
People want to see video. Video creates that emotional connection. It increases, patient adherence, comprehension, and you're just much more willing to pay attention.
Yeah.
And when I receive a video and, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, now I know what to do.
Right.
Versus, reading a big long-winded email, which, I probably won't read.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you had mentioned, when we were talking before, especially when we're talking about healthcare and patient care, depending on the particular situation, a lot of times, they just got a diagnosis that really wasn't so good, right? Or we're giving them instructions on how to take medication for the first time. And, communicating that digitally via video is really powerful, but they get to watch it multiple times, right?
That's correct. I think it's look at video, in itself, that, you can watch it over and over, to raise your comprehension. You can watch it anytime, so in the convenience of your home, on your mobile device, whenever it's convenient for you. And instead of, looking, let's say, online or looking, somewhere else, to try to find information, you're getting now video information from the doctor that you trust.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
great.
Yep. So I imagine, like we just talked about, that there is kind of an increased need for content, dynamic content, video content for your existing customers. So kind of paint a picture of what's happening with new prospects. Is this, COVID crisis and you having a digital health platform, is this opening doors that maybe were closed? Is this expediting sales cycles that were maybe kind of in the process, but they were normally 6 to 12 months and now they're like, I need it now? Let's just talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So somebody, or let's say a healthcare organization who has nothing, is just looking to get something in place as quickly as possible. healthcare organizations that already have something, they are winging it right now,
Yeah.
and just trying to get through, this healthcare crisis. But what we are doing, and I think, this is the approach that, and I think is probably best case scenario right now, is we're going to come out of this healthcare crisis at some point.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and everyone is going to look back and they're going to say, what could we have done better? And I want our solution, our company, to be in a position to say, yes, we can help you. We can give your patients, the ultimate digital experience and help you through the next crisis like this, if it ever happens. And, you will be in a much better position, to communicate more effectively with patients.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you touch on something. So, the guests that we have on the show and the people that are listening are really all kind of faced with the same thing is, we're kind of at this crossroads with this COVID crisis and thinking about what's our next strategy, right? Because whatever our strategy was kind of pre-COVID is in many ways null and void, right? Like the sales strategy, the marketing strategy, a lot of that needs to be adapted to what's next. And so as you're thinking about how do you address what you just talked about? Like, how do you make sure that when we come out of this COVID crisis and your target audience is kind of having that enlightenment? One, how do you help them have that enlightenment? and then how do you make sure that they're all aware of your solution when that comes to be? Is that a strategy and a plan that you are thinking about now? Or is it really just, I wish, Roxy, but no, because we're actually just trying to turn on the dime to meet our customers' most immediate needs right now?
No. So I think, being an entrepreneur, you always want to be one step ahead.
Yep.
And, our rationale of thinking, and, this kind of goes hand in hand with really the focus of our product as well, has been to communicate with video.
What?
And
you practice what you preach?
So, we're sending out video communication, to our.
I'm so impressed.
We're sending out video communication, to leads that we've been talking to, letting them know what we've been doing. We even give them sample COVID-19 videos, that are in play right now for other organizations to give them ideas, if they want to incorporate something like this into their current messaging. So we're trying to help the current situation, but also, look a couple steps ahead and position our product, so that, when the time is right, and right now may not be the right time for anybody, but at some point it's going to be, I want them to give us a good look.
Yep. So what are some of the challenges that you're facing right now as a digital health innovator?
Yeah, so I think it's the basic business challenges of a newer company. Making sure that your leads are adequate leads, that your messaging is properly positioned. You have a good funnel of new opportunities, and you're closing deals. And once all of that happens, everything else, it just kind of comes together. And if you already have a solid commercial solution, that's been proven, now it's time to focus on the sales and marketing piece. And what I've seen, historically, even with some of my previous ventures, if you can't get the sales and marketing piece together, it's really a struggle. And you need to get somebody in your organization, who is really good at that.
Hey, it's Dr. Roxy here with a quick break from the conversation. Do you want your innovation to succeed, to change lives, to shape the future of healthcare? I want that for every health innovator, which is why I invented COIQ, an evidence-based framework to take your innovation from an idea to startup to full market adoption. If you're not sure where you are in the commercialization process, take the free assessment now at drroxy.com/score. Don't miss out on impacting more lives just because you have a low COIQ score. The free assessment is at drroxy.com/score. That's drroxie.com/SCORE. And now let's jump back into the conversation. Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, it seems like that's really obvious, right? But it's a missed opportunity so often. I mean, I talk to innovators all the time that they're so passionate about solving the problem that they have come across, right? And they've probably dedicated their life to addressing, poured all of their resources into. Very often they have a tendency to pour all of that money into the solution. And right, so like, we spent $5 million on the platform, and now we've got, $10,000 to go to market. Like, what happened?
I mean, it's a very challenging balance. Make no mistake about it, because as soon as you develop something, you have a competitor out there, who one-ups you, and you're like, well, I guess we have to do something similar, or we have to one-up them with that, specific feature.
Sure.
But having some early adopter clients, is critical to your success. Having, and I'm not saying you're gonna ride those clients into the sunset. No, these are your early adopter clients, and they give you some revenue coming in, so that you can pay for some of your development costs. You can pay for maybe to go to a conference, or invest some money towards marketing. Maybe not the way you want to, but when you're a startup, when you're a newer company, you have to make every dollar count. So you have to spend it wisely. And you have to stretch everything. That's
well, and so that brings up another question that I think entrepreneurs are facing right now. Do I spend money, or do I save it? How do I know whether I'm going to lose business, or not keep the clients I currently have, or this pipeline that I had in place that was really healthy, but so all of my projections are not coming to fruition, right? Because COVID's kind of changing that. So do I invest money in continuing to try to grow and fill the pipeline with new opportunities, or close new business, or do I just save those reserves to make sure I could go through the end to the light of this tunnel?
Sure. And I think it depends on what your business is, right? So if I have a hand sanitizer company, I'm going to be marketing right now.
all in.
If I have a ventilator company, we're cashing in right now. But practically speaking, you have to look at what the current appetite is, for the product that you have and you're selling right now. I think we have a fantastic solution, but it is incredibly difficult to get the right people on the phone to talk about it. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I think it's, if I had to say, it's probably going to drop off in a couple of weeks. But, at that point, that's our green light to go again. Businesses may have a longer runway, and may have to wait this out a couple of months before, their prospects, come back to the table and want to have those discussions.
I think that's so true, where every business is going to be in a different situation, right? For the market will be different, as well as their current business situation will be different, and what they can and can't do. I was talking to a client last week, and they were sharing with me, they're probably a couple of years in, and just it's a med device company, and they're they just invested probably a good $20,000-$30,000 in some major trade shows,
Sure.
in the last month. And some of them were even like pitch competitions, and and everything just went and so he's not getting that money back. um you know what now?
Yeah, I'm part of that group. So
Yeah.
we're supposed to actually meet at the HIMSS conference, which, and I'm thankful that it was canceled now. But looking back, that was, money that we had invested in hotels and flights and, the vendor fees to attend that
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
that's money that you don't get back.
Right.
Uh, but if I were an entrepreneur, let's say in another vertical right now, I look at what we're doing. We're doing video. Invest your money, in creating a great video, that you can send to people and say, hey, I know that you're busy, that you have a lot on your plate, but when you get like maybe 4 or 5 minutes, take a look at this. And if it's something that you're interested in, I'll give you a call, and it doesn't need to be, tomorrow. It doesn't need to be next week. It could be a month from now, but, when you have things under control, let's talk.
Yeah.
And at least about, what I'm pitching versus, coming in 2 months later and having to start that entire cycle all over again.
Yeah, yeah. And, I think you also touch on something else. I think the messaging is really important now, in how something is being framed. So I think that there's a way to frame something that seems like it is interrupting the target audience from the fires or the chaos that they are experiencing. And there's a way to, if it does, obviously it has to truly meet a need, but there's also a way to frame that from a messaging standpoint of, I know you're experiencing this right now and you really want this to happen, and
Sure.
here's something to help you, right? As opposed to, I'm going through a crisis right now, call me back in a couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's always important, to respect, the clients and the prospects, especially now,
Yeah.
considering that, we're in the middle of the pandemic. So respect their time, respect, the stress and the pressure, that everyone's going through, but keep tabs once in a while,
Yeah.
and let them know that you're thinking about them. And,
Yeah.
and I think that that's fair right there. That is fair. But to give somebody a full-blown marketing pitch or to corner someone to do a demo, I just think that that's an impractical expectation.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that that's worth mentioning too, for all of our listeners. In many instances, right now is not the time to try to sell your solution.
Yeah.
Like you said, if it's hand sanitizer, sell it. If it's
Yeah.
a ventilator, sell it. If not, use a video just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Right?
Yeah,
Just that
absolutely.
building rapport.
Absolutely.
You might not, for the next couple of months, you might not talk about your solution at all. It's just like from one human to another, I'm cultivating that relationship. I'm empathizing, I'm just connecting at the heart and mind. And I think that if we continue to do that, when the dust settles, and this I think is what you're alluding to, right? Is that when the dust settles, who do they think of now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And, let's, we have COVID-19, and, that is, a major focus. I mean, we can't get away from it right now.
Yeah.
That is just our reality. You turn on the TV, you open up a newspaper, you go online, you go on social media.
I'm trying, Bryan. I'm trying. I can't hide from it.
I mean, none of us can.
Mm.
And, it's just our current reality.
Yeah.
And, we all want to sell. We all want to, provide innovation. We all want, to do great things with our companies. But, right now is, that pause moment where
Yeah.
we pause. Now's a good time to regroup a little bit. Make sure that your marketing messaging, it is on point. Make sure that, your vendor relationships are where they should be. If you have, it's something that you need to do with your product, like an upgrade or an enhancement, do it now. Do it now.
Right.
Focus on building a better solution so that, when the gates open again, you are in the ideal position, to
Yeah.
take advantage of, that relationship that you have.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's just great wisdom. As we start to wrap up here, is that as entrepreneurs we wear 1,000 different hats, right? And so we have this mental list of all the things that we want to do when we have time to get to it, and so for some people, now's the time. Now's the time to kind of create that product strategy for post COVID, or finally get all the paperwork together for the taxes for when the extension expired.
Another good thing.
All kinds of different things that we've just really been meaning to get to. If we can, and if it makes sense, that's definitely a good idea. So Bryan, this has been such a great conversation. As we wrap up, knowing that you're speaking to our listenership who is fellow entrepreneurs and innovators who are in the trenches right now trying to find their own way through COVID-19 and what that means for their business, is there any other advice or suggestions that you have for them?
Well, hang in there, and just because we are all down now, it doesn't mean that that's a forever thing. There's some great incentives out there that even I'm looking into with the stimulus package that was just released. There's different programs.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling that when COVID starts to die down and everything starts to get back to normal, our economy is going to skyrocket, and you just have to be ready to jump back into the fire and get after it again. But right now, take advantage of this time and, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
So you can easily, send me an email, Bryan, BRYN, at Highlight Health. So that's HILITEHEALTH.com. Or you can go on our website, www.highlighthealth.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. I know you're busy working to bring your life-changing innovation to market, and I value your time and your attention. To save time and get the latest episodes on your mobile device automatically, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate everyone who's been sharing the show with friends and colleagues. See you on the next episode of COIQ.